Welcome to day 20, and this is a big one. Today we're talking about generative AI, the technology behind the tools that have taken the world by storm: ChatGPT, image generators, AI music, AI code. For decades, AI mostly sorted things. Is this spam or not? Is this a cat or a dog? Generative AI does something that feels almost magical by comparison. It creates. It writes essays that never existed, paints pictures no one has ever seen, composes music, and produces working code. Today we'll understand what makes it different, how it actually works, and we'll generate brand new text with real code you can run yourself. Let's create. Here's the one-sentence idea at the heart of today. Generative AI creates. Older AI was mostly about judgment. You hand it something, and it gives you back a label or a number, spam or not spam, a price, a category. Generative AI flips that around. You give it a prompt, and it produces something entirely new that didn't exist a moment ago: a paragraph, a picture, a melody, a snippet of code. It's the difference between a critic who rates paintings and an artist who paints them. That shift, from labeling to creating, is what makes this era of AI feel so different. Let's put the two side by side. Classic AI is a judge. You give it an input, and it returns a label or a number. Is this spam? Yes or no? What's in this photo? A cat. There's basically one correct answer, and the model's job is to find it. Generative AI is a creator. You give it a prompt, and it returns brand new content. Write a poem, and it writes one. Draw a fox, and it paints one. And here's the key difference. There isn't one right answer. There are endless valid creations, which is exactly why the same prompt can give you something fresh every single time. And it's not just one kind of thing. Generative AI now creates across almost every medium. Text, of course, essays, emails, stories, explanations, the words you're hearing structured by me. Images, original art and designs, and photorealistic scenes of things that have never existed. Audio, realistic voices, original music, sound effects. And code, describe a program in plain English and get back working software. Different tools, different data, but under the hood they share the same core trick, and that trick is simpler than you might think. Let's open it up. At the simplest level, here's the shape of it. A prompt goes in, a creation comes out. Ask for a haiku, and out comes a poem written just now for you. Describe a fox in the snow, and out comes an image that has never existed anywhere before. Ask it to sort a list, and out comes real, working code. Same box, wildly different creations, all driven by the words you feed it. But how does a machine go from a handful of words to a finished poem or picture? The answer is something we've actually already met in this series. Here's the whole secret, and it's beautifully simple. The model creates one small piece at a time. It predicts the next piece, the next word in a sentence, or the next patch of an image. Then, crucially, it samples. It picks one option with a little bit of randomness rather than always grabbing the single, most likely one. It adds that piece, and then it predicts the next and repeats again and again until a whole poem or picture emerges. That pinch of randomness is the magic ingredient. It's why you get something new every single time, instead of the same answer on repeat. Let's watch it happen for real. Time to build the world's tiniest generative AI in just a few lines of Python. We'll feed it a handful of sentences to learn from, and then let it write its own. It'll do exactly what the big models do in spirit: predict a next word, sample one with a little randomness, add it, and keep going until it's written a full sentence. And to prove it's really creating and not just memorizing, we'll run it several times and watch it produce a different sentence each time. Then we'll play with the creativity dial. Let's look at the code. Here's the heart of it. First we learn. We walk through some example sentences and count which word tends to follow which other word. That's our model, just a map of what usually comes next. Then we generate. We start with a word, the, and we sample the next word from what usually follows it, with a dash of randomness. We add it, then sample the next word, and the next, building the sentence piece by piece until we hit a full stop. Notice the word sample. That's the creative spark. And notice temperature. That's a dial we can turn. Let's run it and see what our little model writes. And look at that. 3 runs, 3 brand new sentences, and nobody wrote these but the model. The model dreamed of oceans made of a song about distant traveling stars. The robot painted a curious machine wrote a laughing golden sea. The artist imagined a gentle poem about distant traveling stars. Are they perfect prose? No, it's a tiny toy. But feel what's happening. It is genuinely composing new combinations of words it was never explicitly given. This is generation in miniature. And the exact same idea, scaled up to billions of examples and far richer patterns, is what powers the AI writing tools you use today. So here's the beautiful part. Same model, same code, but a fresh creation every single run. That comes from sampling, from embracing a little randomness instead of always picking the safest word. And remember that temperature dial? It controls exactly how much risk the model takes. Turn it down, and the model plays it safe, sticking to the most likely, most predictable words. Turn it up, and it gets adventurous, reaching for rarer, more surprising combinations. In our demo, the low-temperature run wandered a familiar path, while the high-temperature run went somewhere unexpected. That single knob is the difference between a careful assistant and a wild brainstorming partner. Generative AI is genuinely powerful, but it deserves a clear-eyed look. On the upside, it's a phenomenal creative partner, brilliant for first drafts, brainstorming, art, and code, turning a blank page into a starting point in seconds. But remember, its whole job is to create plausible content, which means, just like we saw with hallucinations, it can confidently make things up. So always review its output before you trust it or ship it, especially for facts. And there are real, open questions worth caring about. What data these models were trained on, and who owns what they produce. Use it as a powerful tool, with your own judgment firmly in the driver's seat. Let's lock it in. Generative AI is the leap from AI that judges to AI that creates new text, images, audio, and code that never existed before. Under the hood, the trick is simple. Predict the next piece, sample one with a little randomness, and repeat until something whole emerges. That randomness is why every creation comes out fresh. And it's an amazing tool, as long as you remember to review what it makes, because creating and being correct are not the same thing. You now understand the engine behind the most talked about technology on the planet. So that's generative AI in 5 minutes. The big idea, these systems create by predicting and sampling one small piece at a time, and that simple loop, scaled up enormously, is what writes the essays, paints the images, and produces the code that's reshaping how we work. Tomorrow, we zoom in on the most famous generative AI of all, large language models, the technology behind ChatGPT and Claude. We'll finally connect all the dots from the last few weeks, tokens, prediction, context, and see how they come together into something that can hold a real conversation. You won't want to miss it. See you tomorrow. And that's generative AI. If you enjoyed watching a machine write its own sentences, do me a quick favor. Hit like, leave a comment with the first thing you'd want a generative AI to create for you, and subscribe so tomorrow's lesson finds you. We're building real AI understanding one day at a time, and I'd love to have you back. Tomorrow, large language models, how ChatGPT really works. See you then.